Journal Day.
Hello, welcome back everyone. This is the post-match reaction to our 4-3 win over Dundee at Dens Park this afternoon. Joined by Ryan again. Thanks for coming back, mate, for the post-match.
Yeah, delighted to be here, mate. Delighted to be here. Thank God that's over.
And my namesake, Billy, thank you for coming on again this evening, mate. How are you?
Good. Need to lie down after that.
No, I agree with you. I'll stay with you, Billy, because I've spoken to Ryan before the match. Did it turn out the way you were expecting before kickoff? Because I think me and Ryan had it going a different way.
If by having no idea how the game was going to go, then yeah, it went exactly how I was expecting, to be honest. It's a big question, actually. I mean, it's been great seeing Barry coming in, and I think he's kind of exceeded expectations for a lot of people. And you'll never be able to put a price on seeing him kind of like lording it at Parkhead after putting them to the sword. But it's this bunch of players again. It's like they're doing exactly the same under Barry a lot of the time that they did under Clement and Bale and maybe even Gio, where, you know, they can produce these big performances and they can go on runs, and then when it comes to the bread and butter, you're 2-0 down before you know it again, and it's a big fight back again. To be honest, that game could have gone anyway. I know we got the win, but if we'd lost 4-3, it had been a draw. You couldn't have argued.
No, and Ryan, let's just go back. I'm looking at my notes. Actually, I stopped taking notes about 5 minutes into the second half because I was just so fed up and angry by this point. But off to another terrible start, which is a recurring theme in the last few matches, at least against anyone that's not Celtic, I suppose. We go down. Raskin gives the ball away cheaply for me in midfield. They get a shot and goal, but at least a corner. And of course, they put a corner in, and it is Murray, I think, that does really good finish, but very weak in my opinion from Tav not to be winning that ball. What did you think about the opening couple of minutes?
Yeah, I was much like yourself, mate. It's just concentration more than anything else. Like where do we need to? It's just so difficult with these things that we need to get off to better starts in games and just more professionalism, to be honest with you. We know that they're probably going to come at us first time. We've obviously had players away on international duty and they haven't. So it's just a difficult one. Tab's got to do better against Murray, to be honest. He wins the ball far too easily. And we spoke before the game about how he was going to come out like a warrior and this SM9 that we'd coined before the game, and as expected, he scores early doors.
And Billy, actually, before the game, I seen a brief interview with Dessers where he says we need to come out and score early. Well, they don't. It seems like they've never seen a football for the first 10, 15 minutes. They're either putting balls too long, balls too short, and the ball just doesn't stick to the player when it's passed to him. It seems like a lack of composure, I guess. Certainly, at least the first half hour of that game.
It's the Jekyll and Hyde nature of this team, because it looked like just an absolute role reversal at Parkhead. Like Dundee were harrying us, and we were making mistakes in midfield. We're giving the ball away. We can't string two passes together. They seem to be all over us. If we can do that to Celtic, there's just no logic in the fact that Dundee are then doing that to us. And it was early on. I mean, that's where you can sort of see the Barry effect at some level, because normally a game that starts like that in the last 6 months, you're not getting back into. And at least we kept at it. Like, you know, and it's almost like the closer they got to half time, the more scared they were getting in to see Barry, and they actually started like getting more on top of things. What I would say though, like Tav definitely, for me, he plays the averages. He kind of gets in position and he's kind of next to the player, he's next to Murray, and he thinks, to me, it looks like he's going, well, he's never scoring for here. He's happy he's in position, and it is. I mean, it's an absolute worldie of a finish, to be honest. But Tav's kind of, to me, is almost like, right, I'm here, I've done my job, rather than really putting in a challenge to put him off. And that's all you need. You just need, you give them the kind of encouragement, and suddenly they've got the adrenaline and their legs are a wee bit heavy after the internationals. And that's what it looked like. I mean, it looked early on like we could be in for a drubbing.
I know, and Ryan, I was raging again after 5 minutes. It just seems like they need to get. This team has been like this for a while. They need to get to half time to be shouted at before they turn it on. And Billy's got a point there. Okay, they did kind of turn it on towards the end of the first half. We'll talk about the goal back in a wee bit, but not long after that first goal, there's another farce, another nonsense, and again it involves Butland. I don't blame Butland for the first goal at all. It is a worldly finish, but he had 3 to 4 chances. Never, he didn't need it. He should have had the ball in his hand for the first one, but they go 2-0 up with an easy catch for him. I don't know if there's sun's in his eyes, but he fumbles the ball. It was very reminiscent of McGregor at Ross County, if you remember. So he's maybe kind of taking the lead from McGregor on that one, but an embarrassing goal to lose, and I'm afraid Butland's had too many of these.
Yeah, but Butland's probably about 90% to blame for the goal, but Sterling's got to do better as well to actually get out with the rest of the defence. Sterling's too slow to get out with the fault. You know, there's a definite line of defence there. Sterling's playing Shaughnessy onside. Butland's got to come out and catch it. They probably find that the ball was slippy. I don't know what the weather was like in Dundee. I don't know if there was any rain, but he's coming to try and catch it with his chest, but he's probably just got to put his hands up and just grab it with his gloves and just take control of it. We're seeing this time and time again with Butland that the ball just seems to bounce off him, and every single time it seems to bounce off him, it lands at an opposition's player's feet. He's got probably 2 chances to save it, and again the ball just ends up in the back of the net. It's calamitous, but it's totally preventable. Again, if Sterling had actually got himself out, Shaughnessy's offside and probably Murray's offside as well at that point if he got out earlier. Butland's got to do himself better as well. I'll be honest, I think Butland's days are numbered at Ibrox. There's too many of these now, and we're now creating a catalogue of errors. We always talk about, not holding on to players for too long and make sure we can cash in on them whilst there's still some value attached to them. I believe there's probably better goalkeepers out there than Jack Butland. People would even talk about Liam Kelly during the game, getting around the games. I don't think Liam Kelly's the answer. I think we should be going out and looking for a more higher quality goalkeeper. But it's completely preventable. It's just another silly, daft goal in what's been a really silly, daft season for us, to be honest, domestically.
Yeah. Billy, it's like he doesn't, or he's not aware of the advantage that a goalkeeper has over almost all the other players in the park, and that's he's allowed to use his hands. As Ryan says there, he's trying to chest it into his hands where it's the ball's in front of him. Why he doesn't just grab it? The only thing I can say is this: the commentator mentioned the sun could have been in his eyes, but I've no other mitigating circumstances for how that ball ends up in the back of the net.
It's wild. He's actually the equivalent. The old cliche about a striker who they're better when they have no time to think about it, and the more time they have to think about it, the more likely they are to make a hash of it. I've never seen a keeper do that before, but the ones he's thrown in recently have been trundlers, or that one. I mean, when you see it from behind the goal, there's quite an array of like light and shadow and all sorts of things in front where it's bouncing. But you're a goalkeeper. Part of your absolute basic skill set is going out at the start of the match. You're assessing where the light's coming from. You're assessing where it's going to be in your eyes. If you need a baseball cap for 5 minutes when it's sunny, you throw that on. So it may be that the sun got in his eyes. If that's the case, I would actually say that's pretty amateurish that he hasn't pulled on a baseball cap or whatever he needs. You can't just go, oh, well, the sun's in my eyes. I can't see the ball, because you see what happens. And it was like he looks like someone who now almost puts himself into panic in certain situations. It's almost like he's now waiting for a wreck as well. And when the ball bounces off him, it's like watching someone with a bar of soap. He's flapping, he's making the instinctive save, but then he's not really getting on top of it. And he's now a very average goalkeeper, but an average goalkeeper it's kind of like you could say your average temperature was fine if your head was in an oven and your feet was in a freezer. He makes amazing saves sometimes, but he's throwing in ones that actually you'd be laughing at if you saw in a park. And I think we're going to regret not having sold him about a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Ryan, there is definitely value in someone like Butland for the English market, because they need an English goalkeeper on the bench. Whether he wants to do that, he may still have a career in the Premiership, lower Premiership, may still have a career in the the Championship, maybe even elsewhere. But for a Rangers goalkeeper, the main thing is concentration. For the most part of the game, you're not going to be doing an awful lot. Compare that to Carson at the other side, who, whether they have 8, 9, 10 saves. Now, I'm going to say, I've mentioned in my notes, that's 4 times Dessers gets through in the first half and hits the ball straight at him. But to be honest, it's his positioning as well. Saves those shots from Dessers, who got through a few times.
Yeah, Trevor Carson was excellent. You can't take that away from him. I think towards the end of the game, John Brown had actually called it. He was going to be the man of the match for the game. He played out his skin today. Fair play to him. I think it's widely documented that Trevor Carson is a Blue Nose as well, so he's probably playing for. He's trying to catch the eye of the manager or whoever's in charge of recruitment to possibly work his way into a move, whatever it is. He's playing with passion, and you can't blame him for that. Go back to Butland, what you were saying there about possibly moving him on. There's certainly a market in England to sell mature English goalkeepers for potentially third choice squad builders. We've seen it done with Trevor Carson, Scott Carson at Man City. Fraser Forrester, Joe Hart was done at it as well. So that there is a market there that we could potentially sell them on there. You could be looking at players that, you can still ask for £5 to £10 million for Jack Butland, the way things are going. There's also the goal that was ruled off as well. There was a foul in the midst of it where they'd actually nearly scored a third goal as well. There was a third goal that I thought Butland should have actually done better with as well. It was ruled as a foul. I think it was a bit debatable as well. But the ball's in right through Butland again. He's got to do better. It's within, I call it your wingspan as a goalkeeper. And if it's within this kind of area where he should be looking to put it down, he should have saved that one as well. Luckily, it was a foul.
Well, look, we're 12 minutes into what's meant to be Ryan, you're muted. Sorry, mate. I didn't realise you were still talking.
No, sorry, mate. I'm speaking to my missus here. I'm telling you to stop rustling a kiss.
I thought you just put yourself on mute and you were still saying something. Right, I'll move on. Yeah, I see we're 12 odd minutes into a 20-25 minute podcast, and we've not talked about any of the good things that we did, because there wasn't really much in the first half. We do get a goal back, Billy. Cross in by Tav. Is that, what do you call it? The area of uncertainty, something like that. And Honnessy, whatever his name is, slides in to try and clear it. Awful deflection, takes it into the goal, and we get one goal back before half time, which is what we needed. But we actually finished the first half pretty strong, and we were pushing for an equaliser before half time.
Yeah, and to be fair, where I will give the team and presumably Barry credit is that is a pretty lucky goal, because he has a slash at it and it's almost like a world-class finish. But it came from, if I remember right, I think it was, Diamandi takes a very quick free kick and Barron plays a quick pass in, and then suddenly they're on the back foot. So when the cross comes in, they're not set, people are stretching, they're out of position, and that's where the goal comes from. So although it was lucky in one sense, it was a result of urgency and tempo. And to be honest, it absolutely melts my brain we don't do that more often. There's nothing grinds my gears more than watching us get a free kick and quite happy when someone stands in front of it and everyone gets set and in position. Like I would be one for just scalping the ball off the guy in front and get him a yellow card if you can. But if you can do that, if you can actually spring a move, well, the opposition are clearly expecting us to take our time and get into position. So, it was lucky, but it was amazing just the reversal in terms of Dundee suddenly looked like they were just hanging on until half-time, and we could, like you say, it wouldn't have been a surprise had we had a couple of half chances, I think, to get an equaliser at the space of 2 minutes.
No, I agree with you. So half-time comes, Ryan, 2 changes. Hadji and Rice come on for Balogun and Barron. So obviously a bit of a formation change. Immediately for me, things looked better. We were pushing forward faster. And then obviously you've mentioned it already, Dessers gets a goal. Slight, the minuscule amounts of offside, but it happens too often for Dessers sometimes. But it's a nice finish, but unfortunately ruled for offside. But a good start to the second half.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't for VAR, how many goals would Cyril Dessers actually have for Rangers? There was a couple in Fenerbahce just a few weeks ago in Istanbul.
148.
With that one. I've joked a few times he was born offside, to be honest with you, with that. But it was just minuscule. I hate this with VAR, with they're ruling it out with toenails. Basically, it fries my brain, and of course we've been penalised for it in this occasion, but we've probably benefited from it in others. But kudos to Barry from what he did at half time. Big call bringing Bailey Rice on as well. He probably could have looked towards a couple more of the senior players within the team to come on. So kudos to Barry for doing that. That was a brave call to bring the wee man on when he did. I don't think we would have seen that under Clement. We'd have probably seen no changes at all, or you might have seen a Danilo Fadiga man or some a like for like change and frustration. So he switched it to back four, and obviously try to get more people further up the park in an attacking position. So it was great to see, but it was a shame for Cyril. I jumped right out of my seat when he scored it. But I need to learn when Dessler scores. I need to maybe check a wee second before I actually think it's going to count or not.
That's exactly what I thought, mate. Like I jumped up as well, and then I'm like, no, wait, it's Dessler's. A bit of wait a minute, and then of course, they show you it back, and you go, that's close. I mean, I think their second goal was close as well, but obviously they've drawn the line. They showed you afterwards. Billy, from what should have been or what we thought was 2-2, the heads go down and quickly. I think we're alone now. Scott Tiffany scores and puts Dundee 3-1 up. Talk us through that goal.
Well, thanks for nicking the pun that I was thinking about using as well, because I think he was alone as well at the back post about 2 minutes before it, and had a slash at it when I don't know how he missed, because I thought it was going to be 3-1 just 2 minutes before he actually made it 3-1. Yeah. And again, it's just like we've got this melting defence that suddenly there's no one in our left-hand side, and he takes it past one, he takes it past another, and I mean, it's a good finish. I don't blame Butland for this one, the way he cuts it back across, but it's like park defending, just like down our left, the amount of times they got in or just ran into space. And yeah, again, it's like I said, the game could have gone any number of ways, because that was 3-1. It could have been 4-1 if he doesn't. Looks like he has like his sort of 10-ball boots on at the back post before that. So part of me was kind of quite FFS at this point, and part of me's thinking, well, we're actually lucky to only be 3-1 down, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. And Ryan, that's what's annoyed me, not just this game, but the previous two home games as well. Well, looking in the home game at St Mirren, is that we do seem to just disappear. Like, teams we play against are throwing everybody in front of a shot, whereas we sometimes don't even have a whole defence in the box when we're under attack. And I also noticed a few times when we were breaking forward how slow we are to get, in the first half at least, how slow we are to get bodies forward to support a guy that's breaking through. So it maybe wasn't too much of a surprise, as much as it was pretty annoying to go 3-1 down.
Yeah, we've definitely got away with one with Tiffany at the back post there, as Billy's mentioned there. That's a howler. He'll probably lose a couple hours sleep tonight over that one. Tavernier got caught up the park. Our centre midfields need to recognise that that's happened. I'd be looking for Bailey Rice or Raskin to tuck in to right back at that point when they realise that Tavernier's out of position. He's not going to be able to recover. So it's a bit of a shocker. And it's not as if it's happened quickly either. They don't realise they can't recover. The ball's went out to the left-hand side, or our left-hand side, their right, to be crossed in at the back. There's plenty of time for somebody to actually come in and recover. So we've got away with one there. The third goal's obviously it's a bad one. You never want to lose any goals, but if you actually look what Simon Murray does on Sterling, if you get a chance to catch the replay and the highlights tonight, Simon Murray actually does something very clever where he takes Dujon Sterling completely the game, basically stops Sterling getting any opportunity to go across and cover Tiffany. We spoke about him before the game, that he sometimes has a goal in him, and he proved it tonight when he got that third goal. It was a good finish for him, to be fair to the lad. It's defensively for us, it's just we've got to recover better and learn from these things. So it's one that probably, I'd imagine, come Monday morning when they're doing the tactical debrief and they've got the video analysis and stuff, I think that'll be one that Barry will be bringing up, that players have got to look to recover and recognise when these things happen.
Well, I'll move on, Ryan. I'll stay with you for Tavernier's goal. I'm going to have to get you to describe it to me because my car alarm went off for some reason during that. I think it's the wind up here. So I had to rush out. I said to my youngest, tell me if there's a goal. And of course, she runs out 2 minutes later when I'm trying to fix this blinking car that there's been a goal. But I've not seen a replay of it yet. So, yeah, there's hope. Hope comes back to the team. We get a goal back with Tavernier. Can you talk me through that one?
Yeah, so it's one of Ferguson's, I don't want to say mastermind changes, but you know what I'm getting at. When he's brought Danilo on. Danilo's had a great touch and he's laid it into him. I don't know what our right back is doing that far up in the final third, in the centre of the final third, but he's struck it fantastically on the half volley and it's crashed into the back of the net. It's a great finish. Got us right back into the game and given us a little bit of hope. But it was all about the kind of touch from Danilo and his kind of bringing Tavernier into play. So great. Carson had no chance.
Well, for once in the game, at least, Dessers wasn't putting a shot straight at him. Billy, at this point, 3-2, are you starting to believe? I think I felt at this point, obviously I missed this goal, but I actually felt we were having, Danilo was making an impact, Hadji was making an impact, that we were, I wasn't convinced we were going to come and win it, but thought there's maybe a chance we get a draw out of this, which I was still pretty angry about, to be fair. But how are you feeling when we go to 3-2?
To be honest, by this point, like I'm kind of like sort of almost watching it like as an out of body experience, because you're going,
totally.
you're going, okay, we could get back into this, but equally the other half of my brain's going, yeah, it could go 4-2 or 5-2, because it just seemed like we were so flaky at the back, and they were looking increasingly vulnerable, and yes, we were making chances. But I'll be honest, like I wasn't getting, I genuinely wasn't getting excited at this point in time, because I thought it was a coin toss whether we were going to score the next goal or they were going to score the next goal. And if we scored the next goal, it was going to be a coin toss again who scored the next one. It just felt, I think I said at the start, if this had been 4-3 the other way, if this had been 4-4, if it had been 5-4 either side, you could have made a case for it. I think it was great in terms of character. It's great to see Barry's got the team fighting in the second half, when I think if this had been like a couple of months ago, this is a kind of game where the team check out and like 2-0 ends up 2-1 or 3-1. So it's great to see them keep going. It's great to see them keep at it. It's great that they got the 3 points. But I just feel like we're watching a different driver behind the same car with the same flaws and the same kind of, they're going to be good in some games and they're going to throw this sort of thing in, because it was actually, I found it genuinely difficult to even get angry or upset watching it in the first half or even the second half, because you're going like, yep, this is what's coming. This is what this team does. I just hope to God that our weekend team doesn't turn up on a Thursday night sometime, because we'll get an absolute scalping against a proper side playing like that.
Ryan, I actually quite like Billy's analogy there of a car. You can have a different driver who maybe changes the gears at different points, but at the end of the day, it's only got a top speed. And our faults certainly are in defence and our goalkeeping. We're scoring goals. I think that was a 100th goal we scored this evening in all competitions this season. It's just a good return in a season, 100 odd goals, but we're shipping too many. Did you feel that we were going to go on? This is for 3-2 at this point. Do you think we were going to go on and take something for the game at that point?
I mean, different car behind the driver. I actually prefer the term "you can't polish turds," to be honest. So, which is maybe a little bit harsh on them considering they won today, but there's certainly plenty of room for improvement and plenty of work to be done as far as coming into a massive tie for us in the quarterfinal of the Europa League. When we got to 3-2, I maybe fancies for a draw. We're obviously pushing. We're going to have a lot more guys further up the park. You're concerned about fatigue and stuff. They've put a lot into it. And as much as we're pushing up the park, Dundee are dangerous on the break. We've seen, Murray absolutely playing his heart out against us as per usual. So you're worried about can we actually stop them coming through? You're not relying on your goalkeeper to produce a big save. The way he's playing, he's not having a great game. So as much as it could have been 3 each, we could have easily went down 4-2 at that point with the exertions on it. But credit to the boys. I'm sure you come on to Tom Lawrence in a wee second, but I was over the moon.
I'm going to come on to Tom Lawrence, and I'm going to stay with you, Ryan, because I did see this goal, and I've maybe not written Tom Lawrence off as a player. I'm writing him off because he's out of contract at the end of the season. I would like to see players that we're going to keep getting an opportunity, but you can't take anything away. That equaliser was a great strike, and as much as Carson had a great game, he's not saving that.
He stumped it. Carson probably, again, just be fair to Carson, with the top of the wingspan that was Peter Butland being disappointed the goal that was ruled for the third one chopped off. Carson's probably slightly disappointed for the third goal that he's lost today. Maybe partial inside, it looks if it can pass the defender, but Lawrence has absolutely thumped that. And I want to see more of his shooting from outside the box. See this kind of habit that we've got ourselves in walking the ball into the net all the time. We've got to take shots at goals. If you don't shoot, you don't score. And when Lawrence was brought to the club, I was, reading these stats and stuff that he was an out-of-the-box goal scorer. He's not scared to have a crack at goal. We've seen the goal that he scored against PSV in the Champions League qualifiers. Granted, it was an absolute goalkeeping howler, but thumping the ball from the outside of the box is something we should be doing more often. He's got. You probably think he's as much as his time's probably up at Ibrox. Being honest, he's picking up a decent wage. He's coming up for the wrong side of 30. He's not got a great injury record, but he's going to be looking to get a move, and it'll probably be an English Championship team. So whenever he's come on, he's putting himself in the shop window. So examples of that he's done in the last 6 months will do his chance of no harm at picking up a new club and getting a half-decent contract and down the road. So I fully expect him to have a part to play by the end of the season.
No, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. But Billy, we'll come to the winner, which I've got to say at 3-1, I probably wasn't really expecting in my heart of hearts. You always kind of hope. You look back to Kilmarnock, we came back for 2-0 down. But there's maybe not a lot in this team that says they're going to do that regularly. But fair play to them. Ball played through. Dundee player tries to nod it back to the goalkeeper as far as I can make out. Dessers nips in. Doesn't have to worry about being offside this time. And a fantastic finish just by Carson, isn't it?
It is, and it's classic Dessers, because I shared your frustration in the first half where I know Carson's pulled off some good saves, but there's 2 or 3 times where basically he doesn't really have to do much, because like Dessers just hits the ball directly at him, and it's classic Cyril that's probably the most difficult, if not one of the more difficult chances he's had all day. And he's on the move and he's not thinking about it, and he's having to take one touch, and then it's a very composed finish. And I guess it is again where you can maybe see the impact Barry's having, because there were a couple of games like towards the end of the Clement reign where we would go behind and then would fight our way back into games. And it was almost like once we got back into the game, or once we got level, the team relaxed and went, okay, we're going to win now. We've done the difficult bit. And of course, then eased off a bit and didn't win. Whereas today, they've actually kept going right to the end. And there is a little bit, whether it's momentum, whether it's the carrot of playing in the Europa League, whether it's Barry's, got into them or whatever, there's something like a bit more urgent towards the end of the game to try and win it. And it's just like, Cyril Dessers, like if you still did Rangers DVDs, like your sort of like Loudrup goal and stuff like that, like in 100 years' time, if you had a time capsule, people would think Cyril Dessers was kind of on a par with like Ronaldo and Messi, because his highlights reel's mental, but he can hit the ball at the goalkeeper 4 times before that. But yeah, it was I was happy to see us win, but I was almost fried by then. I'd been so annoyed in the first half, and it was so up and down. And was it not just before that Simon Murray cracked the post? And to be honest, that's like a Rizla again between us being 4-3 down and a totally different result. So I was kind of like, I was happy to see it, but I wasn't really celebrating until the final whistle, to be honest.
Now, you need to be careful, Billy. Rizzler means something different nowadays to what it did back in the past. Ask anybody at 10-year-old, they'll tell you what a Rizzler is.
I'm not. You can tell me. I'm not going to ask a 10-year-old.
Some new young person's internet meme. It's funny.
I will Google it to keep a sort of PG rating.
It's not the cigarette or the what do you call? I don't know what you call the funny cigarette type of paper that we use.
Here was me thinking I was being high class but not saying ball hair, but there you go.
No, that's probably at this day and age. But if I go through and say to my kids, what's the Rizzler, it'll be certainly different from what it was at school for us. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to finishing up here, because we're about half an hour.
Ollie, can I bring a point in?
Aye, of course, mate.
Aye, this one, the penalty claim with Danilo that we've missed off. Danilo's nicked the ball off in front of the boy, and the boys come through the back of him. Mm-hmm. I don't see many differences from that than the one that Hadji get penalised at Easter Road. Remember, just around about Christmas time, Christmas New Year time, with he's come through. I think there was arguments that Hadji had actually got the ball when the boy was deemed to have got the ball in front of Hadji. He was coming together in the box, and Rangers had a penalty given against them in that 3 each draw. There's not, for me, there's not that much dissimilarities from that. It seems a bit of a shock. I don't rate David Dickinson as a referee. He's had some absolute howlers, to be honest. Particularly at Ibrox, there was the game last season where the two boys booted the ball off each other's face in the same second. But I think he must have given about 10 drop balls in the space of 15 minutes or something. He's an awful referee. But I'd ask the question on that one, how it went to VAR. I'd be interested what the referees have actually got to say about that if it comes to that review show that Willie Collum does with Gordon Duncan. For me, that was I
don't think we got much of a replay of it back, to be honest, did we, mate?
No, we never do. If it's a penalty to the Rangers, we don't. It gets brushed over. They'll probably be sitting editing the footage as we speak about it, editing the what do you call it, the dialogue between the referees. Between it was shocking. Whenever it's there, but for me that was a penalty kick. If Hadji's a penalty kick at Easter Road, that's a penalty kick for Danilo tonight at Dens Park.
Hopefully get a look back on it. Billy, we'll finish up. It's great to get the result. I've got to say we had maybe 10, 15 minutes before from the end of the match to coming on here, but see at the end of the match I didn't have that feeling of yes, we've won. I was still just angry about the performance in general. Yeah, it's great to win, but just very infuriating that we're losing this amount of goals to other teams in this league, and that's probably why we're not going to win the league in the end.
It's just that feeling that's what this team does to you. I think they've got their work cut out against Bilbao because they're sitting fourth in La Liga and playing pretty well. But Rangers in Europe's a different thing. But that's it's just the thing that's so frustrating about it is we are so flaky. And we can go to Celtic and take the game to them, and then this isn't the post. That's the thing. It's almost like it doesn't take you 90 minutes to get angry now. For me, it's like, and actually I'd kind of gone beyond that. I was like sort of like 20 minutes angry, and then right, it's one of these again, and it's almost like you're kind of in a roller coaster. Let's see where it ends. You can end in a high, you can end in a low, and sadly that's what the takeover and the new manager, assuming it's not Barry, is going to have to deal with, because this bunch of players have now done this for a number of years where you just can't rely on them. Like even within a game, you can't rely on them. But certainly, if you'd said going into today, you're expecting us to win, but if you were saying, yeah, today will be one of those days we're 2-0 down and we'll lose, you'd have gone, yeah, possibly. It's not a surprise. And I think Barry's given us a wee bit of a narrative to follow at the end of the season, but it is kind of like there's the Europa League, cross our fingers for that, and then it's almost like looking at the rebuild.
Fair enough. Thanks, Billy, for coming on this evening. It's great to have you on as always, mate. Ryan, any final thoughts before we finish up?
Listen, I'm delighted with the character the players showed tonight to actually go and get that win. Under Clement, that doesn't happen tonight. You're probably actually talking at 2-1 down. I don't even think we'd even have got to 2-1 after. See, as soon as we went 2-0 down, you probably find a lack of interest in the players there. So I'm delighted for the players that they've actually won this. I'm obviously delighted for Barry as well that he's overseen it. They shouldn't be getting this here, Dre. I'm not a great believer. I'm being honest, Billy, of this group of players that we keep sort of they've let us down for years. These players that are in the building just now haven't been with us for years. Probably only Tavernier and Hadji. I've been with us for this number of years. What's been happening over a number of years is we've made really poor decisions in signing players with poor mentality and taking on managers. The likes of your Beals, your likes of Clement, they don't get their eyes out of the players. There seems to be very much a lack of accountability sometimes with players, that the players seem to hold the power. But Ferguson's obviously got the players playing for him, and his coaching staff as well. You're seeing the likes of Billy Dodds, you're seeing the likes of Neil McCann, Alan McGregor, all getting a tune out of players that 6 months ago couldn't kick their own backside, who were nervous apparently to play at home for some strange reason. So we're going on to bigger and better things. Let's draw a line under it. We've won the game. We've got 3 points. We're back down the road. I'm happy for the travelling fans. We spoke about an entertaining game before the match, Billy, in the pre-podcast. We wanted to be entertained. We wanted to show the rest of the UK that it was going to be on Sky Sports Live, that Scottish football is worth paying decent money for. I think we got what we were looking for in the end. Obviously, borderline cardiac arrest on a few occasions. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we have won the game. On to next week. Let's see what we can do. Let's get a home win, and on to next Thursday after that for the big one.
You know what, mate? I had no idea that was on Sky Sports, and I took that holiday as well to watch it. But thank you very much for coming on. Just want to mention our sponsor, After the Match I Go. You get a 10% discount by using the code Journal10. You can scan the QR code on the screen just now, or go to www.afterthematchigo.co.uk. And as I say, it's a 10% discount on all products over there. So please check them out if you can. We'll be back on Monday night this week to go over the game in a bit more detail, I guess. Wednesday and Friday. Looking forward to the game against Hibs at Ibrox on Saturday. And then next week, I think we'll be a wee bit busier with the Bilbao game. So please like and subscribe the channel, people. You'll get it a notification when we're going to go live. And thank you very much for watching. And all it leaves me to say is every night is a Rangers Journal night. Catch you again soon.